So this is the unfortunate fact. The majority of people feel that it's dangerous to feel their own pain, and the reality is it's dangerous not to.
Yeah.
It's dangerous not to feel your own pain. It's actually going to be better if you feel your pain than not. And this is where I feel a lot of people's false beliefs get really tied up in the whole thing, don't they? Where they believe that if I feel pain, my life's going to get worse, and they often believe that, of course, and that prevents them from feeling their pain, which means their life does get worse, ironically. And I find that so unfortunate watching people do all of this when it's quite simple. If you allow yourself to truly experience your own pain and release it, it will release by you feeling it. Once that happens, change is automatic after that. You don't have to try. And on top of that, you experience the joy of relief of it all being released. And then, but in addition, that is the safest place you could be. Yeah. And there's so much focus, I find, on how dangerous it is to feel your emotions. Man, the amount of times the media in Australia and overseas has criticised me for teaching this teaching. Yeah. It's incredible how much and investment there is in trying to have people not feel their pain.
Isn't it like crazy? Incredible. You don't see them knocking on doors of like funeral parlours and bursting in and saying to people,
"Don't feel your pain.
Stop crying, stop crying. That's dangerous." Yeah. When in fact, we're really just encouraging people to do the same thing. Every time you suppressed a loss or a feeling of fear or a feeling of grief in your past, simply allow that process now.
Correct.
And it's only the false beliefs we have about that process that actually put us in any danger.
Yes. And there are an immense amount of spirits around us who do not want us to feel our pain because it's through our pain that they meet their own addictions.
Or through our avoidance of pain.
Yes. Through our avoidance of trying to get away from our pain, they meet their addictions. So they are heavily invested in telling us that we shouldn't have to feel our pain, right? And the world as well is heavily invested in telling us we shouldn't have to feel our pain. And why is that? Because they want to sell us something. They want to sell us, some kind of product that helps us avoid our pain. Yeah. That's why they're heavily invested in it. And until the world gets away from this investment in helping people avoid pain and instead makes products and services that helps you get into your pain in a loving way and that is not harmful, then we're not going to have much change on the planet, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell we're a bit passionate about this point.
Honestly, it's one of the biggest problems that we face in the teachings of divine truth, because people think that they can absorb new truth without getting rid of the old painful error, and they can't. I can speak truth all day, every day, and we can have like 100 hours of videos every week talking about new truth, and the majority of people are not going to be able to have it absorbed into their soul because they're unwilling to feel the pain of their error.
Yeah.
So it's like knocking on a brick wall. Yeah. Until there's an opening in the soul towards pain, which is like a door in the brick wall, nothing will change. And the world will not accept truth while it is so opposed to feeling pain. Yeah. Because all of the error that's within the soul is all painful. It's going to have to come out, and it's going to have to come out by experiencing it. And there is no other option. Yeah. There's no other option. Yeah. There's no other fancy way. There's no tapping. There's no this. There's no that. There's no Reiki. None of those things will cause you to actually get into all of your causal grief and pain. You have to go through it. And when you allow yourself to go through it, God's love can come and just make it, just wash away so simply and easily. And this is the sad thing, because we're so unwilling to feel the pain, doesn't give us the opportunity to feel much of God's love either.
And and we know from the other principles, like dominance, we know that all of our belief systems, all of our thoughts, all of our actions, everything is going to be based on what is already in our soul.
Correct.
And so it doesn't matter if you try to find the causal belief and modify that and, ask God to please, take it away. Unless we deal with the causal emotion that has driven that belief.
And unless we're willing to feel it and experience it.
Yes. Unless it's gone from us in an emotional process, it's going to dominate our life.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that this is one of the major things people need to understand about their progression. These are the principles of progression that are so important for a person to understand. And if they understand this, they understand the soul. And this kind of understanding of the soul is everlasting. Like, this is how the soul progresses. So once you've released all your pain, the only emotions you experience after that are pleasure.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very easy to learn once all the emotions are displeasurable without learning, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're unwilling to feel the pain, none of that can actually ever happen.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing. The world is in so much pain, and individuals in the world are in so much pain, that we never engage the process of the feeling of the pain. And then as a result, the truth, the pleasure of receiving the truth cannot happen for us. And that's also a sad thing. So God's trying to share all this truth, all this wealth of emotional experience and truth that God has for us to experience. We can't experience any of it when we're so resistive to our pain. Yeah. And so we're really using our will to lock up the progress of our soul. And so the only way our soul is going to progress is by our being heavily engaged in a slow and very, very painful process of slowly changing each emotion that we're unwilling to feel completely, because we're unwilling to cope with being overwhelmed with pain. Yeah. And as a result, we feel a smidge of it, we feel a smidge of it, we feel a smidge of it. We make a little bit of progress because we feel a smidge of it each time. But it takes hundreds, if not thousands of years for people to do that kind of progression. When your progression can be right down 10 years or 15, 20 years. Even on earth it can be 15, 20 years of progression, and you're at one with God and without pain. Yeah. So why would you avoid that process when doing it the other way can take thousands of years? Yeah. So it just makes no sense at all to me. And this is something we observed a lot from the spirit world, obviously. People making these choices to avoid pain, avoid pain, avoid pain. And hopefully one of the things we're trying to show people is, like, we've been through a lot of personal pain. And we've still got more personal pain to go through. And each time we do, we end up feeling happier. Yep. And that is a demonstration of the truth of what we teach. Yeah.
Yeah.